champing at the bit to tell us what's going on. So,
No,
hey,
champing at the bit. Um, hey everybody, how's everyone? Always good to see y'all.
yeah, great to see you. So, okay,
Um,
Govinda,
You're
what is
alive.
I am. It's been very busy, extremely busy getting certain things up and out and done. But yep, mankind is free. So that's about the simplest way to put it right now.
that's a great headline for this. So, okay, so for people watching here that
Sure.
maybe you've never heard of this before, okay, what have you done, Govinda?
Um, Okay, well, so here's the thing, and this is something that we've all been aware of for a long time. I mean, all of us when we got here in this life and in this world, you knew something wasn't right, you know. So the issue of the birth bond. This is the basis on which so much corruption has happened and taken place to mankind. The birth certificate, which is the securitization of the living, or putting the credit value on the dead, and then taking that and then um, adding, making the living have to pay the debt for the dead, right? This has been the issue of mankind in the old age and the old paradigm that we just came out of. So what has happened, and as I heard Cal saying a little bit about it. You know, Cal is very good on the technicals of all of this for sure. But essentially, they've gone the whole system has gone now into default, and they no longer have a lawful claim on the living because that which they used for compelled performance is now no longer in their hands.
Okay, so wait, so this is to do with the whole birth certificate thing. I'm going to try to
Yes.
summarize a little bit here.
Sure.
You know, when you get anything that's in capital letters from the government or from corporations, whatever, that is, they're actually billing your corporation that they created
Corpse.
fraudulently
They're billing your
without
corpse.
without your knowledge when your
Yeah.
mother, the informant, signed the application for birth certificate or
Not
whatever.
an application. They created a security. so
Okay.
here's what happens, um, or what used to happen, I should say. And ideally, we start having honorable systems that no longer are trying to play these games. And if they do, they actually fall into misprision of fraud, misprision of felony charges, and part of the RICO charges that are now live and active globally. So what happens, and this is the way that the system works. Do you remember Mendel House, Edward Mendel House, the fruit from a poisonous tree? Right, we talked a bit about that. So you had this meeting, these meetings back in 100 years plus. So this fraud's been going on for before we materialized here, right? And what they did was they came up with a way, a very evil, very diabolical way to essentially spawn kill people as soon as they got here. And what they did was the decedent, which if you check the IRS documents on all of what that is, they the umbilical cord in the placenta which is alive when the child is born. That's your twin, right? When you are born, your um, first the baby, and then the placenta and the umbilical cord come out. Now, what they do with that is the placenta and the umbilical cord, that is, they wait till it stops, right? The blood stops, and then would you like to cut the cord, right? Okay, well, it was alive, then it dies. So, but what happens is, and what people have not realized and what they don't know is that the fathers have never learned to claim that. And what happens, especially in the hospital settings, is the hospice, right? That people go to die, but the hospital settings, the hospitals claim that under salvage property, right? They claim the decedent. They claim that because the parents don't take it, they don't know what it is, they don't know what to do with it. Now, what they do in their system is they assign a credit value to that property. And then when the pair of renters, the parents, right, not the mother and the father, but the parents, the pair of renters, when they go and they now sign a birth certificate, which is a security, they are signing on the credit value established on the decedent, and the living being that shares the same name, the lowercase version, is now spends their entire life paying back on the credit value that's been assigned to that pledge. Is that clear?
I always had trouble with accounting. Still
Yeah.
don't know the real difference between a debit and a credit.
Yeah. Well, and I've got a little bit of a little bit of a cold today, but
It makes your voice sound fantastic,
oh,
though.
thank you. Great. Super. So this has been the system. And so here's how this ties in spiritually. So in the scriptures, there is the one purse, right? In the book of Proverbs. So they say, toss in your lot with us. You will have one purse, right? And there's a warning about that. The scriptures say, don't do that. Don't play that game. Don't jump into that. There's a reason why property was, so if you have an ounce of silver, for example, it's stays within that ounce of silver. When you mix it and you mingle it, what happens is if it's all part of something else, if something else corrupts it, then everything is corrupted. So what happened by them putting, and I shared a bit about, this actually ties into something that happened to my family, to myself and my family. This is all part of the process. I know there's people right now that are combing through these filings and looking for everything, and people are trying to find out how they can. Save your time. You're not going to build a course off of this. You're not. This is very, very. This is very. This is a divine orchestration. That is not something to. It is just something to recognize that the Most High has intervened in the affairs of mankind for his purposes, and he is accomplishing what it is that he wants to do right now. So right now, what happened is essentially now think of this in terms of the securities and securities fraud, right? So what was created was a false and a fraudulent security. For me, on record, part of the whole thing that was done, I, as the father, claimed the decedent, the biological property. It's even